Come join me and Rocky for our evening walk. We're just getting started. Actually, we just left out the house. So, it's your girl, Big Inch, and Rocky the dog doing his business. Hopefully, you guys are having a good evening. It's beautiful out here tonight. Oh, God, I gotta spin around, guys. So, I'm gonna take him for a walk before I get ready to go to work. Oh, yeah. He likes to be in the road. He likes to walk in the road. He see cars coming. He go towards the cars rather than away from the cars, which is not good. Oh, guys, I am tired. What is today? Tuesday? Yeah, today is Tuesday. So hopefully you guys are having a great Tuesday. Almost April Fool's Day, April 1st, coming up very fast. Yeah, Rocky stops again. He marks his territory everywhere he goes. Just don't mark this territory all up and down this street. So we're not gonna walk that long. Like I said, I gotta go to work. But I try to come live whenever I can, just because, I want to be somewhat consistent. I want to be more consistent, but look at him. Look at him. I want to be more consistent, but a lot of times I'll be tired, because I work at night. So a lot of times I'll be tired. I have to sleep during the day. And I usually get up around 5. And by the time I get started and get myself together, it's probably time for me to go to work again. But I thank God that I'm able to come live today and talk to you guys. So, as and be low key. Just work, get my money, and be low key. That's part of the job. But other than that, I am thankful to God for letting me see another day. Whew. Thankful to God for life, health, and strength. Thankful to God for keeping me. Guys, sometimes we go through stuff and we get so caught up in what we're going through that we forget to tell God thank you for the things that He's avoided, He's allowed us to avoid, and the things that He's brought us through, you know? And I'm trying to make sure I tell God thank you for keeping me, for bringing me through, because I know it's sometimes that I feel like I ain't gonna make it. But by the grace of God and His favor, His love, and His mercy, and His compassion. Oh, look at Rocky pooping right in front of these people's house. Look, good thing they ain't home. Look at him, right in front of these people's driveway. And take his little sweet time doing it. But, yeah, sometimes I just say, Lord, I thank you, because it could be a different way. Even when it's not good, it could be worse. How you doing? Right there. um, it might not be the best, but it's definitely not the worst. So I gotta be thankful for that, child. You know, sometimes we take, I'm gonna say me, I can't speak for nobody else, but sometimes I know I take God for granted. I take His mercy and His grace for granted. And all He wants us to do is tell Him thank you and following Him and give our life to Him. And then all of that, if you do all of that, it works out for your good. Because even when you go through things, you can handle it better. Because if you go through some stuff and you really don't know God, that stuff, some of that stuff can drive you, batty. So, you know, that's why you got to have a true relationship with God. I know people that say they got a relationship with God, but, I think if you got a relationship with God, your life will line up with that. It's not just saying, it's not just something you say, it's got to be some evidence somewhere. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, guys, because I'm not. I am nowhere near, I am nowhere near perfect, you know? And I make a lot of mistakes. But I know I could be making a whole lot more if I didn't have Jesus on my side. I know I would be making a whole, and I would be, and I'm still going to make mistakes because as long as I'm on this earth, I got this flesh that I got to deal with. Sometimes the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So, guys, I just been trying to make sure I listen to the word. I go online and I listen to, I find a good This morning I actually listened to Nipsey Hussle, which was really good. It was about staying to yourself and putting yourself first, because like I am a people pleaser. So I try to do everything to make people happy. And a lot of times that don't work out for my good. It don't work out for my health because I'll put my health at risk, like not get rest or whatever, trying to just be at everything because people invite me. You don't have to go to everything if people invite you to. And if people don't understand that, then are they really your friend? So that's what his message was talking about. It was really good about how you got to put yourself first because that's what I'm in the season of, putting myself first. Hi. Hi, such a cutie. Oh, thank you, uh, Bison. Thank you, Bison. Welcome in. Thanks for coming in. Hit that like button for me. But yeah, I'm in a season of putting myself first. And I hope the volume up. Oh yeah, I didn't know if the volume up because I was playing a game before I got on here. But I'm in a season of putting myself first. And that is selfish. But sometimes you have to be a little selfish in order for you to grow. Because sometimes you outgrow people and you outgrow things and situations. And people don't want to let you go. They don't want to understand that you are in a different season of your life. And you might not be in that same place you was when you first met them. Or, God is moving you to something greater. And sometimes when God is moving you to something greater, you may have to leave some people behind. Some people you can't carry with you everywhere. And a lot of people are not meant to go with you everywhere. But what they do, they see that people leech on to people pleasers because they see you're a people pleaser. So every time they need something, every time they need some support, they know you're going to be there. But the thing, how you got to start looking at it, or how I'm going to start looking at it, is I got to start looking at when I need support, who's there for me? Because sometimes you need support and you've been there for everybody else. Get off of that. Get off of that. Look at something on the ground. You've been there for everybody else. Come on. Come on. You've been there for everybody else. And then when you in need, whether it's financial, emotional, spiritual, it's not always about finances. Sometimes you can have money and your finances can be just fine. But sometimes you're lonely, or sometimes you just need somebody to be there. You're going through things in life, you know, emotional things, especially when you're getting older. And you just need somebody to be there. And you've been there for everybody else. But now it's your season to go through. And you look up. Can't nobody take the time to be there for you. But when they need you, they know your number. But when you try to call them, they don't answer the phone. They too busy. They with their family. When you done left your family to go check on them. So, and that's what I've done a lot. And especially with my kids. I have 3 grown kids. I have put my life on hold a lot to support my kids and be there for my kids and, try to do the right thing, that's my job as a parent. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. That is my job as a parent. But, too, now that my kids are grown and they got their own families and everything, they kind of don't put me to the side until they need money or they need a babysitter or they're going through something. If they're going through something in their relationship or going through something with each other, then it's like, oh, I know who I can call. I can always call my mom, which they can't always call me. But I am trying to get myself in a place where I'm not just going to be available for everybody all the time. You know, I'm going to be trying to grow in God, strengthen myself and grow in God, and let God will be done in my life, and stop trying to run around and do everything for everybody and make sure everybody's okay. Because I believe, and this is just my belief, I really, if I pray, because I pray for my kids all the time, daily. I believe if I pray for them and put them in God's hands, they'll be all right. I just got to trust God. Because sometimes I feel like they look at me as their God, because as soon as they're going through something, and they was raised in the church. So they should know, call on the Lord. Don't call on me. Because it's going to be some times that I can't be there because I got my own issues. But they call on me when you got to call on Jesus. So I feel like I'm going to try and get myself in a place where I'm going to do what's best for me. I'm in a season where I want to do what's best for me. And like I said, grow in the Lord, strengthen myself in the Lord. Stop, get myself around people that are not seeking God, or that are not seeking the things of God, you know, because that gets you off track. A lot of times, either you going to pull, you have friends or family or whatever that you're close to, either you're going to pull them to God or they're going to pull you away from God if they're not, in the will of God themselves. And, a lot of times I get pulled away from God, and I'm not blaming them because I'm grown and I make the ultimate decision. So I can't blame them, but I have to start just keeping my circle really small and only letting them people in that's going to feed my spirit. Look at Rocky. Why is he eating this grass? Feed my spirit and not my flesh. A lot of times we want people to make us feel good, and your spirit is hungry. So I want somebody that can speak into my spirit, speak a word of God into my life, prophesy into my life, speak positivity into my life. So that's what I'm seeking right now, guys. So like I said, I'm trying to keep my circle small, because the more people you let in your circle, the more like energy that they're bringing, and sometimes it's not a good energy. And I'm a type of person, some people pick up on energy and it sways them, and I'm learning that I'm that type of person. If I'm around a person that's depressed, and I don't have a reason to be depressed, but when I get from around that person, or if I'm around that person long enough, I find myself feeling sad for no reason. Or if I'm around a person that's angry, and I'm around that person long enough, I find myself being angry for no reason. So I realize that I pick up on people's energy, even at my job, like I'm very outspoken. So even at my job, like other people will come to me and they'll say what they want to say, but they're afraid to say it. And they'll tell me it. And if they tell me it enough, when we get in a meeting, my dumb butt will say it. Because it's gotten in my spirit. They said it enough where it's been spoken into my spirit. My spirit is very open, I'm learning. So I got to start protecting my spirit. I got to start watching what I let into, my space, and who I let into my space. Because you shouldn't let everybody in. Now, it's good to be nice to everybody, but everybody ain't meant to be in your space. Everybody's not meant to be in your area. Everybody's not meant to be in your circle. And I'm learning that. So now I'm just trying to pray, Lord, send on people who you would have. Come on, Rocky. I think these people finna back out. Who you would have me to deal with, because if not, my flesh might like them, but they may not be good for my spirit. They might be good for my spiritual walk with God and my spiritual growth, and it could stun you, and now you're trying to wonder what's going on. And a lot of times it's just who you don't let in your circle. So that's what Nipsey Hussle was talking about, keeping your circle small and staying to yourself and seeking God, and I think that's what, for now, I'm going to try to do, just because I feel like I said, I do feel like my spirit is so open, and that I pick up on people's energy, that, um, I I feel these things when I'm around people and they're going through this stuff, and then I start feeling like it for no reason, because I really a lot of times don't have a reason to be depressed. And I'm not saying I'm depressed because I'm not claiming that spirit, but I'll feel a spirit of heaviness or spirit of sadness that will come upon me for no reason at all. You know, it just comes upon me. And then when I'm by myself and I start thinking about who I've been talking to today, because if you start feeling depressed and you start feeling sad or you start feeling anxious and all that stuff, and that's not usually something you go through, because some people naturally feel that. Some people really just naturally have a spirit of depression and anxiety. But if you're not that type of person, and that's not something you naturally go through, when you start feeling like that out of nowhere, you got to look back and you think about who you've been around, what you guys been talking about, who you've been talking to, and what have y'all been talking about. Because a lot of times that stuff will get in your spirit, and you'll, oh Lord, Rocky pooping in somebody else's yard, y'all. This dog, no, he'll get it out of him. He poops all the time. He poops at least 3 or 4 times a day. So anyway, and you'll pick up on that. A lot of people's spirit is very sensitive, and I'm realizing that I'm one of those people where my spirit and energy is very sensitive and very open. Where like people can, like I said, people can, if they say something to me long enough, I'll start feeling that same way because they've said it to me so many times that now I'm feeling like that, you know. Even and before I got around this person, I wasn't feeling none of that. So yeah, I gotta guard. I'm learning I gotta guard my spirit. So that's the reason why when you see me out here walking, it's me and Rocky. Rocky get on my nerves, so he can get me in the wrong spirit too, child. Cause he do get on my nerves. But yeah, I'm trying to just be careful of who I talk to, what I talk about, what words I let come out my mouth. You gotta be very careful with that. So that's what I was thinking about, guys. So me and Rocky's finna finish our walk. I'm actually finna get off live because I don't like making long lives because y'all don't like to watch and y'all sure don't like to hit the thumbs up button. But thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for listening. I pray the blessings of God on all of y'all. I pray that, oh my God, there's sprinkler on. Ooh, it is popping right on me. And no matter what you do, put God first in everything you do. Seek God's guidance before you make any big major decisions, before you even make little decisions, because it makes a difference. So you guys have a good God bless day. Sugar girl, Big Ange, and no, Big Ange, hi, and Rocky the dog. We're out. We'll see you on the next video. Have a good one. Love you guys.